What is the secret to writing a chilling dystopia? Make it look like a paradise. Lois Lowry's The Giver does exactly that, and in the process, she created one of the most subtly haunting dystopias of the last 4 decades. A book that laid the groundwork for modern classics like Hunger Games, Divergent, Maze Runner, you name it. Any of those YA novels you probably had to read when you were in middle school. We're going to break down how Lowry built a world that feels safe on the surface but hides a devastating truth underneath. And more importantly, we'll look at the writing techniques you can steal from this classic novel to level up your own storytelling. In The Giver, Lois Lowry creates a world where there's no war, no pain, and no freedom. Every decision, job, your spouse, even your emotions are controlled. But no one really complains because no one remembers what they've lost. And that's where our protagonist Jonas comes in. We're breaking down how The Giver uses character arcs and societal control to build a powerful dystopian story. And if you're a writer, there's a lot you can steal. Stay to the end for some writing tips that we can take from this story. Why writers should study The Giver. On the surface, The Giver looks like a peaceful world. No hunger, no war, no fear, very much like Star Trek. But under the calm is a system that strips away love, identity, and memory, all in the name of harmony, not like Star Trek. As a writer, this book is a goldmine. It shows you how to build a dystopian world without a villain, create a character arc rooted in emotional awakening, use world building as a metaphor, and deliver a message that lingers. In other words, create a really good theme. First, let's talk about world building as control. Let's start with the setting. In Jonas's community, choice is the enemy. To eliminate suffering, they eliminated difference. No colors, no music, no emotion. Jobs, families, and even words are assigned to maintain sameness. And this is the key lesson for writers. The most powerful dystopians aren't always violent. Sometimes they're polite, quiet, and chilling in their absolute calmness. By removing danger, the community also removes humanity. And the real trick is that most characters don't even realize it. As a writer, notice how the antagonist is not a person, it's a system. There's no evil dictator, just a well-meaning structure that values control over connection. Here's a writing tip. Turn your setting into the villain. Not all antagonists need to twirl their mustache and cackle in the shadows. In fact, those kinds of villains can be predictable and even a little boring. One of the most powerful things Lowry does is to make the setting itself the antagonist. But here's the twist. Instead of a brutal wasteland or raging storm like you typically have in a man versus nature story where the setting is the antagonist, the danger isn't chaos, it's control. This society isn't falling apart, it's perfectly engineered, peaceful, orderly, and that's the problem. The real villain isn't a person, it's a system, one that keeps even the leaders trapped in emotional numbness and quiet obedience. If you want to build a chilling world, take note from Lowry. Let your setting do the heavy lifting. A smiling, structured dystopian can be more terrifying than any monster. Okay, since we've talked about setting, let's talk a little bit about character arc or Jonas's awakening. At the start of The Giver, Jonas is everything the community wants him to be: obedient, respectful, and trusting. He believes the system works. He doesn't question why certain choices are forbidden, why emotions are muted, or why everything feels so controlled, because he's never known anything different. But once Jonas is selected as the next receiver of memory, he begins experiencing emotions no one else in his world understands. He feels joy for the first time, then sorrow, then love, and eventually grief and war and death. With each memory, the world he thought was safe begins to unravel. The breaking point comes when Jonas learns the truth about release. Watching his father calmly euthanize a baby without remorse or even understanding what he's doing. This is what finally opens Jonas's eyes to the truth. For Jonas, this isn't just about loss of innocence, it's a betrayal. The system he trusted is revealed to be not only flawed, but monstrous in its complacency. From there, Jonas takes action. He rebels and escapes. He risks his life to save Gabriel, his surrogate brother, and chooses pain, uncertainty, and freedom over safety and lies. And that's when Jonas's arc shifts from awakening to action. Here's a writing tip: challenge beliefs to forge true transformation. Your character's journey becomes unforgettable when the plot doesn't just test their skills, it shakes their very beliefs. You can do this in 5 steps. The first one would be identify their core conviction. Decide what your character holds most dear, a principle or value or an assumption about the world. Step 2 is to design relentless obstacles. Introduce conflicts that directly contradict or undermine their belief. Each obstacle should force your character to react and reevaluate. Step 3, show their choices and consequences. consequences. As the challenges mount, let your character make tough decisions, some in line with their old self and some that hint at new perspectives. Step 4, I think I should have numbered these, I always lose track. Erode, then rebuild. Gradually expose them to experiences that crack their old worldview, then give them moments of clarity where new belief takes root. And step 5, maybe the last one, culminate in a defining act. By the climax, characters should choose in a way that proves their transformation. They reject what they stood for and embrace a radically different outlook. Remember, true arcs aren't sudden twists. They're organic and the result of relentless testing, thoughtful choices, and the courage to change. Okay, let's talk about that change. Stakes that force choice. When Jonas learns that Gabriel, an infant he's grown to love, is scheduled to be released, he makes a life-altering decision. He escapes the community. He chooses uncertainty, pain, and danger over safety and control, but this isn't just about saving himself and Gabriel. Jonas and Giver believe that by leaving, the memories he carries will flood back into the community. It will be painful, but it will also restore what has been lost: emotion, history, and the freedom to choose. This is his act of revolution. In true dystopian fashion, Jonas's final decision reflects the hallmark of a hero's arc: selflessness. By the end, he's no longer acting for his own survival. He's risking everything to awaken a society that doesn't even know it's asleep. This is how you build a climax around character-driven stakes. He's not fighting a villain. He's fighting a world that forgot how to feel. As a writer, take note. Jonas's arc isn't about power. It's about awareness, and his actions stem from emotional truth, not external conflict. His final act is one of selflessness. That's what makes the ending hit so hard. Writing takeaways, what you can learn. Let's zoom out a little bit and look at 4 lessons from The Giver that you can use in your own fictional works. Lesson number 1, make the system the villain. There doesn't have to be an evil overlord. The rules themselves can be oppressive. Lesson 2, build the arc through emotional contrast. Jonas doesn't change because of outside pressure. He changes because he feels something no one else does. These feelings lead him to discover a deeper truth about life and humanity. Lesson 3, reveal stakes through intimacy. The danger isn't global, it's personal. Gabriel, Jonas's brother, is going to die. That makes Jonas's decision visceral and real. And lesson number 4, don't be afraid of ambiguity. The ending of this story is unresolved. Did Jonas and Gabriel survive, or did they die comforted by memories inherited from the Giver? That ambiguity makes the reader think and keeps the story alive in their minds after they've flipped the last page. The Giver is an example of how subtlety can make your story more impactful and more action-packed than most thrillers. And as a writer, it teaches us that dystopian fiction doesn't have to shout at us. Sometimes the scariest thing is a world without pain, because it's also a world without love. So what's your favorite writing lesson from The Giver? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you'd like to use in your own stories. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like and subscribe button. We're trying to make more of these kinds of videos that give you practical writing tips based off of some classic works of literature, fiction, movies. And if you want more writing lessons from literature, check out this next video somewhere. It's a pretty good one. But that's all for now. And remember, keep writing.